What just happened inside WWE has sent a shockwave through the entire wrestling world. A name once synonymous with dominance, with legacy, with fear, has now been called into question. Roman Reigns, the self-declared Tribal Chief. The head of the table. The centerpiece of WWE's most powerful modern faction, might be done. And the Bloodline? On the brink of total collapse. Because in a shocking and unprecedented statement issued directly from WWE headquarters just moments ago, the company confirmed, a major change has just been made regarding the status of Roman Reigns, and the future of the Bloodline may never be the same. Fans, insiders, and even WWE superstars are reeling from the implications. Some are calling it a betrayal. Others are calling it justice. But one thing is clear. This wasn't just a decision. It was a message. And that message? The Tribal Chief's throne is no longer safe. Let's rewind. Because the story didn't start today. The seeds of this chaos were planted months ago. WrestleMania 41. The night Roman Reigns finally lost his grip. For over 3 years, he stood unchallenged, cutting down every threat, manipulating every ally, and holding WWE's top prize with an iron fist. Until he didn't. Until his bloodline fractured, publicly and violently. It began with Solo Sikoa. The quiet enforcer who became the architect of a silent coup. When he took out Roman backstage and declared himself the rightful heir to the throne, it wasn't just a betrayal, it was a rebellion. He brought in new soldiers, Tama Tonga, Hikuleo, and Tangaloa. Warriors bred for destruction. Men who don't speak much, but speak loudly in action. And as Roman Reigns was rushed into medical care after his collapse, something darker took root. A power vacuum. And Solo filled it. WWE knew what was happening, but the question was always this: would Roman Reigns come back to take it all back? Now, we may have our answer. Because today, in a carefully worded statement released at 9 a.m. Eastern, WWE stunned fans worldwide. Effective immediately, Roman Reigns is no longer recognized as the active tribal chief on WWE programming. The line hit like a thunderclap across social media. Was this a storyline shift or a real, behind-the-scenes power play? Even veteran analysts are baffled. Never in modern WWE history has a title, not a championship, but a symbolic position of power like the Tribal Chief, been officially revoked by the company. So why now? What could have happened backstage that forced WWE's hand? According to internal sources close to WWE Creative, this decision wasn't spontaneous. It was building. In the weeks following WrestleMania, Roman Reigns had gone dark. No appearances. No promos. No contact with WWE talent, staff, or media. Paul Heyman, his once loyal Wiseman, refused to answer questions. Superstars whispered backstage, some feared he wouldn't return at all. But then the rumor started. Roman had been injured. No, he had walked away. No, he was furious that Solo had taken over. But no one had proof. Until now. Because in leaked text messages reportedly exchanged between WWE producers and talent agents, there's evidence that Roman Reigns himself demanded creative control over the Bloodline storyline upon return. And WWE? They said no. That, according to one insider, was the breaking point. This wasn't about ego, the source said. It was about control. Roman didn't just want to return, he wanted to rewrite the rules of how WWE handles the Bloodline. And for the first time in years, WWE pushed back. But here's where it gets even more complicated. Because Paul Heyman, the man who once swore loyalty to Roman Reigns, is no longer in Roman's corner. That's right. In one of the most shocking developments since the rise of the Shield, Heyman has reportedly aligned himself with Solo Sikoa. Let that sink in. The Wiseman who once called Roman the greatest champion of all time, now whispers strategies to the man who took him out. WWE's announcement didn't just revoke Roman's tribal chief status. It silently passed the torch. And who's holding that torch now? Solo Sikoa. Sources say that WWE is preparing to officially anoint Solo as the new Tribal Chief live on SmackDown next week, a coronation that may trigger open war. But the question remains, where is Roman Reigns? Because no matter what the company says, there are rumors swirling that Roman isn't staying silent anymore. In fact, someone leaked a private voice message earlier this morning, allegedly from Roman himself, recorded in the dead of night. The voice? Calm. Slow. But dangerous. Here's what it said. You don't strip a king of his crown. You try, and the kingdom burns with it. The audio hasn't been verified, but the message? The WWE Universe is listening. And some are already taking sides. The locker room is divided. Superstars like Kevin Owens and Jey Uso are reportedly furious at WWE's decision, calling it disrespectful and short-sighted. While others, like Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn, have publicly supported Solo's leadership, citing Roman's manipulative reign over the roster. And then there's the crowd. At WWE live events, chants of "We want Roman" now clash with "Solo is Tribal Chief" signs. It's not just a power struggle anymore. It's a civil war. One that WWE may not be able to contain. And in the center of that storm is a single, unavoidable truth. WWE just fired the first shot. But Roman Reigns? He may fire the last. And now, the silence is over. Because just hours after WWE's announcement went viral, Roman Reigns made his move, not through WWE programming, not through an official statement, but through something far more personal, and far more threatening. In it, a dark room. No logos. No words. Just the unmistakable silhouette of a man with his back turned, holding the symbolic ula fala, the traditional Samoan necklace once used by Roman to crown himself as Tribal Chief. A voice, low and deliberate, speaks. The seat at the head of the table doesn't belong to whoever sits in it. It belongs to the one who made the table. Then the screen cuts to black. No caption. No hashtags. No signature. But the message was clear. Roman Reigns is coming back. And when he does, he's not coming for forgiveness. He's coming for vengeance. WWE officials are now scrambling. What was meant to be a clean transition of power has spiraled into chaos. The announcement, meant to usher in a new era, has instead reawakened a sleeping storm. Behind the scenes, there are whispers that WWE Chairman Paul Levesque, Triple H himself, had reservations about issuing the announcement at all. According to one production staffer, Hunter warned the board this would trigger something big. Roman doesn't forget. And he doesn't forgive. And yet, the statement went out. The Bloodline, once WWE's most dominant faction, is now split between two ideologies. On one side, Solo Sikoa, Paul Heyman, and the rising warlords of SmackDown, Tama Tonga, Hikuleo, Tanga Loa, and Jeff Cobb. On the other, an unseen Roman Reigns operating from the shadows, reportedly reconnecting with Jey Uso, Jacob Fatu, and, if sources are correct, Zilla Fatu, who may be next in line to return to the family war. Insiders claim that Jey Uso, who once turned his back on Roman, is now reconsidering everything. According to one locker room source, Jey knows Roman made him. Without Roman, there's no main event Jey. And now, he's watching his brother Jimmy fall in line behind Solo, and it's tearing him apart. Jacob Fatu, meanwhile, has remained silent publicly, but was spotted backstage at Raw last week speaking with Heyman. Some believe he's still loyal to Roman. Others think he's the wild card. But the most shocking name of all? Zilla Fatu. The son of the Late Umaga. Quiet, disciplined, and untested in WWE, but reportedly training intensively at a private facility in Florida under Roman's direction. WWE officials are terrified of what's coming. Because if Roman Reigns returns, not alone, but with a new bloodline at his side, it won't just be about reclaiming a title. It will be about burning the current regime to the ground. And Heyman knows it. In a rare unscripted backstage moment captured by a crew member, Paul Heyman was seen pacing outside gorilla position after the announcement went public. His expression? Shaken. Uncertain. Haunted. He was heard muttering one sentence under his breath. He told me I'd regret this. Regret. Fear. Silence. That's what remains now. Because WWE may have thought they were controlling the narrative. But they forgot who they were dealing with. This is Roman Reigns. The man who redefined modern dominance. The man who didn't just hold the Universal Championship. He reimagined what a champion was. You don't erase a legacy like that with a press release. And now, the consequences are coming. The WWE Universe is divided like never before. Tribal Chief merchandise is selling faster than ever. Solo's new t-shirts are already being burned by fans outside arenas. Reddit threads are exploding with theories. X, formerly Twitter, is ablaze with leaked voice notes, hidden Instagram reels, and unverified rumors. Some say Roman Reigns will return at SummerSlam. Others say he'll strike before that, unannounced, uninvited, and unrelenting. One thing is certain, the next time Roman Reigns appears on WWE programming, it won't be to negotiate. It will be to declare war. And if the whispers are true, it won't just be Solo Sikoa he's coming for. It's Paul Heyman. The betrayal cuts deep. For years, Heyman stood beside Roman like a high priest beside a king. But now, the wise man has chosen a new messiah. And Roman? He doesn't forgive traitors. He punishes them. This isn't a bloodline feud anymore. This is a purge. The tribal chief is not dead. He's watching. He's plotting. And when he rises again, the island of relevancy won't be big enough for all of them. And just like that, the countdown begins. SummerSlam. Detroit. Sold out. But the real heat isn't in the arena. It's backstage. In hushed whispers. In silent glances between veterans who've seen history rewritten before. Because everyone knows, it's not if Roman Reigns returns. It's when. And the company is bracing for impact. Over the last 48 hours, WWE security protocols have quietly changed. Multiple staff members have reported anonymous emails requesting clearance for a VIP with no public record. Production teams have been issued new scripts marked, "Do not distribute, Roman." Entire segments are being rehearsed behind locked doors. But here's the twist. Roman isn't on the run sheet. He's not supposed to be there. And yet, Paul Heyman was seen requesting a closed-door meeting with Triple H just hours ago. No camera crew. No public statement. Just Heyman, pacing, sweating, with a trembling stack of papers in hand. What did he say in that room? We don't know. But one producer, speaking anonymously, said this. I've seen Heyman shaken before. When Brock left. When ECW folded. But never like this. He looked like a man who just saw a ghost. Meanwhile, Solo Sikoa is acting like a man on top of the world. At last week's SmackDown, he stood in the center of the ring and raised the Ula Fala with Heyman by his side, declaring himself the real head of the table. No hesitation. No fear. But it's the fear he isn't showing that's most telling. Because behind the scenes, even his own brothers, Tama Tonga and Hikuleo, are on edge. They've reportedly questioned Solo's decision to freeze out Jacob Fatu. To silence Jay. To send a warning to Zilla Fatu. This isn't a family. This is a ticking time bomb. And WWE just gave it a name. The new Bloodline. Official graphics are being prepared. A new intro theme is being tested. But at what cost? Because Roman Reigns has never lost power without taking something back. And the rumor is, he's bringing something with him. Not a title. Not a contract. But proof. According to a source within WWE Legal, Roman Reigns has in his possession a sealed agreement, signed by Vince McMahon before his departure, granting him perpetual creative ownership of the Bloodline concept. If true, this means that Roman, not Solo, is the legal tribal chief in all marketing and merchandise rights. In other words, WWE may have just handed control of the Bloodline to someone they no longer control. And now? It's too late. Because as we speak, trucks are rolling toward Detroit. Production towers are being erected. Fans are flooding in. And somewhere in that storm, Roman Reigns is coming. Not through the front door. Not with a security escort. But the way kings return. In shadows. In silence. And in fire. WWE planned a coronation for Solo Sikoa. But now, the company fears they might witness something else entirely. A bloodline civil war, live at SummerSlam. And it all comes to a head the moment Solo Sikoa raises the Ula Fala in front of the WWE Universe, unaware that Roman Reigns may be walking down the stairs. No pyro. No music. No warning. Just tribal justice. One witness backstage says rehearsals were interrupted by a sudden blackout during a lighting test, at exactly the moment Solo's mock ceremony was to take place. Coincidence? Or Roman's team testing the lights? As the hours tick down, WWE superstars are on edge. Jey Uso was reportedly seen leaving the arena after a tense conversation with Tama Tonga. Is he defecting? Or waiting for Roman's call? Jacob Fatu hasn't been seen in 36 hours. And Zilla Fatu? He posted a single word on X last night. Blood. No hashtags. No promo. No explanation. But fans knew what it meant. Because something is about to spill. And at the center of it all is one undeniable, terrifying truth. WWE tried to control the Bloodline. Now, the Bloodline controls them. SummerSlam isn't just a pay-per-view anymore. It's a battlefield. And by the end of the night, only one man will be standing at the head of the table. Roman Reigns. Solo Sikoa. Paul Heyman. The Bloodline. It all ends here. Or it all begins again. SummerSlam. The lights dimmed. The tribal drums echoed. And in the center of the ring stood Solo Sikoa, crowned in red, flanked by Paul Heyman, Tama Tonga, Hikuleo, and Tanga Loa. His arms raised. His voice loud. From this moment on, I am the tribal chief. The crowd booed. Some cheered. But no one moved. And then, the lights cut. Total darkness. The arena silent. No music. No camera switch. Just a single torch, burning red on the stage. And from the shadows, Roman Reigns appeared. No entrance. No production. Just Roman, in a black Samoan cloak, walking slowly, each step thunderous in the silence. The crowd exploded. Not a chant. Not a scream. A roar. The camera caught Paul Heyman's face. Pale. Stiff. Frozen in time. Solo's expression didn't change. But his hand clenched the Ula Fala tighter. Roman entered the ring. Stood face to face with Solo. Two leaders. One throne. He didn't say a word. And then, he slapped the Ula Fala out of Solo Sikoa's hands. The necklace hit the mat like a declaration of war. Solo lunged, only to be met with a thunderous Superman punch that dropped him to one knee. Tama and Hikuleo charged, Roman dodged, speared Tama straight into the ring post. Chaos erupted. But then, the unthinkable happened. Paul Heyman slid into the ring, begging. Pleading. His hands raised. Roman, I didn't know. I never, they forced me. Roman stared at him. Silent. Then stepped forward. Grabbed Heyman by the collar. You made me. You betrayed me. Now you answer to me. And with a violent roar, Roman Superman punched Heyman to the canvas. The crowd erupted. The tribal chief wasn't here to talk. He was here to take everything back. The bloodline imploded. Officials stormed the ring. Chaos. Carnage. Solo pulled Heyman out of harm's way as Roman stood tall. Blood dripping from his lip. Sweat pouring from his face. And on the mat beneath his feet? The shattered remains of the Ula Fala. The broadcast ended there. No outro. No victory music. Just Roman Reigns, silent, raging, reborn. But what happened after the camera stopped rolling? Backstage sources say Roman was rushed through a side corridor by private security. WWE officials begged him to stay for a post-show interview. He refused. Let them speak when they've earned it, he said. Meanwhile, Solo Sikoa was seen tearing up a locker room door. Screaming. Demanding to speak to Triple H. Medical staff attended to Paul Heyman, who was still shaking from the blow. And in the middle of it all? JUSO. Watching from the shadows. Uninvolved. Uncommitted. But shaken. Sources say Jay walked past Roman backstage, made eye contact, and nodded. Not an apology. Not an alliance. Just acknowledgement. The war had begun. And Jay? He's choosing his moment. The fallout has been immediate. WWE.com has taken down all Solo Sikoa Tribal Chief merchandise. New Bloodline shirts have been pulled from WWE shop. A backstage memo was leaked titled, Reinstatement of Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, Creative and Legal Adjustments. Immediate effect. The tide is turning. Roman Reigns has seized back the throne, not through approval, but through war. And now the bloodline is shattered. Solo is injured. Heyman is broken. Tama and Hikuleo are shaken. And Roman? He's calling in new soldiers. Because this was never about family. It was about legacy. And legacy, in Roman's eyes, can only be forged through fire. What happens now? WWE is preparing for the unthinkable. Roman Reigns vs. Solo Sikoa. One final match. One final crown. But this time it won't be at WrestleMania. It may not even be in WWE. Sources say Roman is demanding the match happen off-script, unsanctioned. No rules. No title. Just blood. And one more rumor? A secret meeting has allegedly taken place between Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu. If true, the bloodline civil war is only beginning. And this time, Roman isn't playing God. He's playing executioner. In the days following SummerSlam, WWE was no longer a wrestling company. It was a war zone. Roman Reigns had returned. Not with fanfare. Not with forgiveness. But with fire, violence, and silence. And now, everything was different. The bloodline was no longer a single faction. It was two armies. Split by betrayal. Fueled by vengeance. And Roman? He wasn't rebuilding. He was recruiting. Inside a private facility in Orlando, Florida, far from the Performance Center, far from the WWE cameras, Roman Reigns was seen training with a new crew. No lights. No production. Just sweat, impact, and intent. And among those training with him? Jacob Fatu. JUSO. Zilla Fatu. Each man tied to Roman by blood. Each man burned by Solo Sikoa's betrayal. Each man now ready to follow a new path, one paved by Roman's wrath. A new alliance is forming. But don't call it the bloodline. Roman doesn't use that name anymore. He calls it the Ones. Why? Because, in his words, we were never the family. We were the ones who made it all matter. And now, the ones are being built in the shadows. Jey Uso, the conflicted brother, has now chosen sides. Sources say his conversation with Roman after SummerSlam ended with a quiet handshake and a promise: Jey will deliver Jimmy Uso. Zilla F.